Hey guys, and here we are with another video. Hope you are all okay on that side of the screen. And today, just to do a quick comparison on the cameras on the iPhone 11 and iPhone 11 Pro. At this moment, front-facing camera, 4K, 60 frames per second. I will do a few tests right over here, but just want to share with you this kind of image. The sun is right behind me, so it's a difficult shot to get, and it's doing a pretty good job. Even though the sky right over there is blown up, but not bad at all, keeping me with good lighting condition right over here as well. So a great eye dynamic range on both phones. And one thing that I would like to remind here is that on all the tests that I made so far, I see no differences on the 11 Pro and on the 11. So if you are just looking for camera results, this is it. This is a great phone for pictures, but for videos, incredible. The stabilization, I'm not using any gimbal, so the camera that I'm seeing less good results is on the front face camera that we are using right now, and also on the back camera with the ultra wide angle. But before we change lenses, let me just show you an ideal condition where I've got the sun right over there and the background right over there. So this is a great example of the footage that we can get when we have the optimal conditions. But even though like this, it does a great job. With the exception of the sky, there's no miracles. But once we change, look how fast that it recovers and gives me all the details on the image. So this is the front-facing camera, 4K, 60 frames per second, 11 Pro and 11. And now with the wide-angle back camera on the 11 Pro and also on the 11. Once again, no differences in terms of image quality, in terms of resolution, in terms of everything. And let me just change to another lighting condition right over here as we did before. But as you can see, this will be the best camera that we can find on this phone. In terms of stabilization, of course, much better than all the others. Not that the others are bad, but this one is just better. And as you can see, in terms of the background, keeping my face in focus, everything auto. So this is just great, a great companion for someone that is looking for a phone with a great quality in terms of picture, but with a really good video quality. Probably the best at this moment. Not really sure, but probably the best video quality at this moment for a smartphone. I'm really amazed, great choice. And at this moment I can use these phones, not only with my cameras, but these phones to replace one of the cameras, which is just amazing. And here we are, ultra wide angle lens on the 11 Pro and also on the 11. So as I was saying before, we will get a little bit less, in my opinion, stabilization and a little bit less quality on these lens comparing to the main lens, the wide angle. But although we do, it has great advantages. I love this lens, and with great lighting conditions, it does a great job. One thing that I did notice, and we will do a few more tests, is that the ultra wide, in terms of low light conditions, it's not as good as the main camera, but that is something to be expected. Nonetheless, to give the audience a better perspective of what we want to show. And of course, we've got cameras for that, GoPros and so on, and ultra wide lenses that we can put on our DSLRs, but on a smartphone, it's just awesome. And right now I'm using on the 11 Pro the Telephoto lens, just to share with those that are wondering, should I go for the 11 or the 11 Pro? What will I lose? Besides the design and whatever that we have already seen, the cameras, this is what you will lose. In this particular case, I've got the telephoto lens on the 11 Pro, and on the 11 I don't have that lens. So this is the difference that you will see. In my particular case, it is the lens that I use less. So in my opinion, the 11 is the best choice in terms of budget, in terms of performance, in terms of price to the thing that we get. But if you really want a telephoto lens, then what I can say is that the lens is great. We don't lose quality, at least in my opinion, the test that I made. And as you can see, my face is in focus, although I'm really close to you. But as you can see in the background, we've got a really great bokeh, really great unfocus right over there, while keeping me on focus, which is really nice. So depending on what we are doing, depending on the goal that we have for our usage, well, this is it. This is the camera that we have on the 11 Pro and not on the 11. Do you need it? It's up to you.
Silent nights recalling you, a souvenir of what it could be. Pieces of my mind
So here we are back at the office, and right now with controllable lighting conditions, and what we are going to test out is the all lenses that we can test out with different lighting conditions so that we can see exactly how low light we can go and what we will lose or not. So I've got the 11 Pro right over here and the 11 right over there, and we will start with the 11 Pro. I'm going to start by shutting down the lights that I've got on that side of the office. So at this moment it's a lot darker. Let's see if we are losing quality or not. By the way, we are using, to start with, the wide angle lens, the main lens on the iPhone Pro. Now let's shut down this one, and we are with really low light conditions right now, and if I press the button, then completely dark, and probably we have lost everything. Probably you can see just the glare of my face. Now let's move on to the 11 right over there, and let's start by turning on the first light right over here, so low light conditions. Now let's move to the lateral lights. Let's just try one thing, because this was the last step on the 11 Pro. I have my lateral lights right over here, now the center lights just above me. Okay, now we can go to those center lights right over there, and finally those right over there, and all these on the 11 phone, so that we can see if there's any difference and how much quality we will lose in different types of lighting conditions. And now with the ultra wide lens on both phones, but starting with the 11 Pro, let's see if we lose more quality. One thing that I've been noticing is that the ultra wide in low light conditions loses a little bit more than the main camera, the wide angle. But let's do a test right over here. Just turn off one of the lights at the back. We are on the 11 Pro, and then we just turn off the central lights at the back. Now let's turn off the center right over here. Really low light conditions right now. Let's see the type of noise that we will have. We can say that this is in normal light conditions for a living room, let's say, where we have about 4000 lumens right over here, and let's turn off everything. And right now probably you aren't watching anything, and with a really high noise. Now let's move to the iPhone 11, and right now let's just give a few seconds, but we can turn on the lateral lights. So we are at the last step on the that we had on the iPhone Pro 11 Pro, sorry. And now the center lights right on top of me, and now let's move on to the center lights at the back, and finally the lateral lights right over there. So I've got the whole office lit up right now, and hopefully we can see any differences. Okay, telephoto lens on the iPhone 11 Pro and the wide angle lens on the iPhone 11. This is what we lose when we don't get the 11. So probably you are really close to my face. Once again, let's try to see what kind of detail we lose with the lack of light. So turning one off, turning the other one off, and now turning the third one, and let's turn off. This is really low light conditions. I've got the central one, but let me swap it like this to see the same that we have been doing with the others. So in terms of lighting, if we are losing the same as the ultra wide, if we are losing the same as the wide angle or not, let's turn off everything just for a few seconds, and now turn on the lateral, and then we can turn on the central once again. There's no point in testing the 11 because we already have done that test. And now the central at the back and the lateral at the back, and that's about it. And to finish up, here we are with the front-facing camera, both on the 11 and on the 11 Pro. So starting with the 11 Pro, once again, let's shut down that right over there. Now I can see something, so it's gotten a little bit darker. Now the other one right over there, so a lot darker right over here. I see no differences on the screen, but once we put it on our monitor, we will see what kind of differences we have, if we have any, between the phones. And now this one right over here, and finally this one, which makes this totally black. And the only light that we are seeing on this side of my face is that I've got my monitor right over there, so it's lighting my face, and what I can see bad, but I can see it's a lot of noise, which is to be expected. No miracles right over here. Now let's turn on one of the lights. Now we have usable footage, although with low lighting conditions. Let's see here, I don't see much noise, but only when we get to the screen lamp. Let's turn on this one and this one, and finally this one, and we have a controllable lighting conditions. Guys, this is it. Hopefully this video will help you to decide if you want one, if you want the other one, or if you don't want either, but you want to check out what kind of footage we can get in real life with no stabilization, with no marketing gimmicks whatsoever, just what we'll get out of each phone when we use it on a daily basis. And of course, at this moment it's on my tripod, but for the whole morning I just handheld so that we could see the kind of stabilization that we have on both phones. That is it. Hopefully this video was helpful in some way, and if it was, don't forget that usual thumbs up. My name is Roberto, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.